Musicals with cheese.
Hello, I'm Jesse McAnally.
And I'm Andrew DeWolf.
And I'm Brianna Jones.
And welcome to Musicals with Cheese, a podcast where I try to get Andrew and Bree to like musical theater, and somebody left the door open and the Christmas came in.
Oh no, not again.
Music's overwhelming us. Children are singing. It's beautiful. Look at all the
jingle bells
Christmas.
just get louder and louder until we can't even hear anything anymore.
What did you say? The jingle bells are too loud, Andrew.
Jingle, jingle, jingle.
Oh, God. How have you guys been on this wonderful holiday season? Look, the lights are up. The Christmas is out. I've got eggnog for you all.
Well, I mean, I'm feeling pretty good. Just one little thing, though. I got visited by this, it was like a scary-looking version of you, Jess.
Oh, no.
It looked like, it came out of my kitchen table, and it looked like it looked like a monster version of you, cut with chains and like bricks on chains, and you sang a song, and you were like, I'm gonna get visited by ghosts or something.
Did you get visited by the ghost, though?
Not yet. He said tonight.
Oh.
So I'm a little worried about it. Can you elaborate? Was this you? Did you do this?
Is this a bit that I'm gonna have to hold up throughout the entire episode now? Ooh! I am the ghost of Christmas past. I don't know if you know this, Andrew, but in your past, you've covered a lot of Christmas Carol adaptations. Ooh! I'm the ghost of Christmas future now. You're going to have to cover a lot more.
Oh, but the ghost of Christmas present hasn't arrived yet.
And here I am.
And guess what? We're going to cover one right now.
You got it. This week, we are covering the brand new Apple TV Plus film, Spirited. Cue the music, Brie.
Some peace on earth, a virgin birth, and grandpa getting sauced. Every Facebook loving boomer wants to fight a culture war. So tell your core consumer what the hell they're fighting for. We're bringing back Christmas, and it's not coming back with some manufactured treat.
Spirited is a film musical written by Sean Anders and John Morris, also directed by Sean Anders, based on A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens, with music and lyrics by Ben Pasek and Justin Paul. Our old friends, it's been too long.
The guys from Tom and Jerry?
Yeah, Tom and Jerry back in Oz. They're those composers.
Those guys, yeah, they were great.
The Giant Peach guys, Dogfight.
Yeah.
They've only done good things. This premiered in theaters November 11th, 2022, and on Apple TV Plus November 18th, 2022. Each Christmas Eve, the Ghost of Christmas Present selects one dark soul to be reformed by a visit from the three spirits. But this season, he picked the wrong Scrooge. Clint Briggs turns the tables on his ghostly host until Present finds himself re-examining his own past, present, and future. This is a brand new film we've got here, a brand new piece.
Yeah.
Literally, as of recording, this only came out 13 days ago.
It's very, very new.
Yeah, and this was not supposed to be our first Christmas episode this year, our first holiday episode, or whatever the fuck. However, I am gonna preempt this with a little story of what happened. So we just passed Thanksgiving, and my parents were like, "We're gonna watch Spirited. We really want to watch Spirited." And I'm like, "Okay, I know nothing
Will Ferrell
about
fans?
this." I think they just
Ryan Reynolds.
I think they're just we have Apple TV Plus, and I want to get my full out of it. You know?
Okay, I mean that's fair if you're gonna pay for that,
right? And so we turn it on. And I do not know until the opening credits that A, it is a musical, and B, that it's Pasek and Paul.
Wait, you didn't know it was a musical?
I did not. I knew absolutely nothing about this except for Ryan Reynolds and Will Ferrell, and they did that TikTok meme where they sang the Violet Sky song.
Honestly, I'm surprised how much they sang. Is that their voices? I assume it was.
That is their voices. Written for their voices by Pasek and Paul. And if I'm going to give them as much credit as I can, they are very good at writing to the strengths of their vocalists, if they are brought in to write for vocalists. Say what you will, they write very well for Ben Platt, and they did so. They wrote very well for Hugh Jackman and Zendaya and Zac Efron and The Greatest Showman. I think that is one of their strengths as songwriters, is to find out what people sing best as and how to highlight that and not have it noticeable their weaknesses. Where it gets struggling is when they get a classic theater voice. And when I'm saying that, I don't mean like Ben Platt or something like that. I'm talking like a Patrick Page, where they seem a little lost with that voice.
Yeah. Well, go on with your story.
It was weird because as soon as I my father listens to the podcast occasionally, so much that he, when I said, "Oh, it's the Dear Evan Hansen guys, this will be interesting." There was at one point in the film where the piano cue comes in and he just turns to me. He's like, "They turned on the Dear Evan Hansen," and he was not wrong.
They really do turn up the Dear Evan Hansen at a certain point in this.
Yes,
but I don't think we need to get there yet. I think we should ease in.
So how would you describe the plot and also your general thoughts about the film?
Yeah, just, on a watch, it's pretty good. Like, weirdly good. Like, I went in and I was expecting this to be like a cheap, like crappy streaming movie that would be just an absolute mess, but Will Ferrell and Ryan Reynolds are there, so, whatever. But it ended up being like a pretty fun watch, honestly. It wasn't like great. Like, it's not a Christmas classic or anything, but I enjoyed parts of it. Geez, as far as the plot, it's like a Christmas Carol except meta. It's breaks the fourth wall or whatever we're talking about.
Yeah.
Basically, the Ghost of Christmas Present is the main character. The Charles Dickens story exists. The characters know about the story.
So much that even the Bill Murray movie Scrooged exists.
Yes, like everything, like it's almost like a play on the fact of how common A Christmas Carol adaptations are, and it's just like, well, they're so common that they happen every single year, and here's the like company that does it, essentially.
Yeah. And so Will Ferrell's our lead character, and a lot of plot twists and turns, and like they do a good job of rooting it in an emotional core for every character, which surprises me. Do you know anything about Sean Anders, the director?
I don't.
So he's a director I've been keeping my eye on for a while. Like his debut film was like something like a cult hit that I really like. Okay, that's better than it had any right to be kind of vibe. And then he went into... He also directed That's My Boy as his sophomore slump a little bit, which might be one of the worst films ever. But after that, he got into this like streak of hits that all made money, were financially successful and well liked by critics, which was the Daddy's Home series, which is weird to call that a series, and then Instant Family, and those three films really kind of gave him a blank check to do whatever he wanted to do. And what he did with that blank check is Spirited. Like, he got together with his co-writer and said, I want to make a musical, and the one thing that I know always sticks around every year is a family musical, like a Christmas holiday musical, because no matter what, it'll come back every year, and we have longevity there. And in all honesty, the thing that surprises me the most about Spirited is it feels like a legitimate passion project, but from a director that really wanted to make this.
Yeah, it's like they gave a shit. And when you can watch movies, and especially some of these streaming movies, sometimes you watch them and you're like, they did not care, like, at all about this.
Can you name an example? I'm just, because I feel like that'll contextualize, because I have mine.
Oh geez, what have I watched? Just recently I watched a Netflix movie. It was The Sea Beast or something like that.
Yeah.
And it wasn't terrible, but it was just like it was just really sloppy. Like there was plot lines that didn't go anywhere. And it's like, you could tell that some of the people working on it cared, but there was also just, they weren't given enough time. They weren't like, it just seemed slapped together. And that feels like a common thread with streaming movies to me. What's your example?
So I watched this the same weekend. I watched two musicals, and I tweeted this, that they both represent the dichotomy of what movie musicals are today, in the 21st century, specifically the 2020s. And I watched Disenchanted from Disney, which is a sequel to one of their most successful films of the aughts. And then you have this film, Spirited. And Disenchanted is an uber sincere, boring film made by a corporation, and it feels corporate, and it feels like everyone's kind of going through the motions. There's no creativity behind the cinematography or the narrative structure. The most they came up with is Amy Adams evil now. Wouldn't that be hot? And I sent you a little clip of how that film is shot and how
I did see the
looks.
clip, and it looks boring. It looks like flat, like a TV show.
Yes.
Like, awful.
And that's Adam Shankman who directed that, who's also the director of the original Hairspray film from 2007. And it just has no energy. It has no one wants to be there. Nobody wants to be there. And then I followed it up with watching Spirited, which is this expensive, like super expensive looking. Every shot I just feel like costs the amount of a Marvel movie. The amount of dancers, the amount of choreography, and the way that they shot it is so effective. Probably some of the best musical theater on film I've ever seen, aside from like West Side Story last year. It's the best since then, in my opinion. But
the dancing is phenomenal. The amount of dancers they get and the amount they use them as well. It's not just like, oh, we have the one song number where they dance.
Yeah.
It's like, no, every song everybody's dancing, and it's really great.
Yeah, and they find a way through this like structure of having these ghost figures that can come and go wherever they want and all that, where they can have a choir or chorus no matter what, a Greek chorus and vocalists no matter where they are, no matter what the story calls for. They can exist and be a physical presence, and you can have that theatery thing. This solved a problem that I didn't realize movie musicals had, and they did it so effortlessly that you don't even notice it was a problem beforehand. However, every 5 minutes they have to point out, well, we're going to sing now. Oh, the song's stupid. Oh, but it's a musical. And be embarrassed of being a musical despite actually doing the musical theater stuff better than most people.
I think it's a situation where they don't think musicals are popular, so they want to get that crowd that doesn't like musicals to be like, well, I guess I can enjoy this since, I mean, even the movie doesn't like it. Like, but it's like you're undercutting something that you're doing really well.
Yes.
Like, why would you do that? Like, why would you do something like I could live with it if they did like one joke where they're like, oh, geez, you guys are going to sing. Like if they did, there was one funny moment where like Will Ferrell was about to sing like this big I Want number or whatever. And the one guy is just like, all right, I'll make a deal with you. Just don't sing. And that, I guess I could live with that if they did it like one time.
Yes.
But they didn't. They did it like every single time there was a song number. They did another one of those jokes where it's like, are you really going to start singing right now? Like, It's like, oh my God.
And that's like a joke that's been done to death in Billy and Mandy and Rocko's Modern Life, in those musical episodes of TV shows. It's the worst thing, and I really am sick of it. I recently on the Always Sunny podcast, Lin-Manuel Miranda was a guest when they were talking about The Nightman Cometh. Mm-hmm. And he said, the worst thing that a musical can be is embarrassed to be a musical. And if they constantly are dropping, like, it's so stupid that we're singing every 5 seconds, it literally destroys the medium a little bit more. And he was talking about in relation to The Nightman Cometh is, these aren't people embarrassed to do a musical. These are people trying to do a musical good, but doing it poorly, which is much better.
Yeah. No, it's like, I don't know. I don't understand why they did it. It really, like, I get the idea behind why they did it. Like, we're going to appeal to these mainstream people who don't like musicals. But, like, why not just do that by being great,
the best
which you already are doing?
And I don't want to damn The Greatest Showman with faint praise. At least that knew what it was and was really proud of it.
There's no moment in The Greatest Showman where, like, Hugh Jackman is like, wait, are we really going to start singing right now?
What, are we really going to start singing right now? This is the greatest show!
Yeah, it's like they lean in and they do it. Like, just do it, you know?
I want to talk about Apple TV Plus a little bit, because we're in a streaming war, and I feel like the streaming bubble's going to pop soon, and we're just going to find something new to all pay attention to soon, which is
piracy, hopefully.
Yes, hopefully. Which is both a good and a bad thing. But something I've noticed in a lot of streaming services that have popped up recently, be it Peacock, Disney Plus, Paramount Plus, all these brand new ones that have popped up. Their big thing is quantity over quality. They want to get as much stuff on their service so that people will come to it because they've got the most things. Apple TV Plus, I think, is secretly the best streaming service out there because they have the Amazon positive thing where they're not only a streaming service. That is not the
unlimited money, essentially.
But that doesn't mean that you're just going to throw it at a bunch of small things and hope that it picks up. Not saying what they're doing is massive blockbuster stuff, but let's take a look at the films that it is made. It is like stuff like Spirited, of course, The Tragedy of Macbeth, which is the Denzel Washington, Joel Coen Macbeth adaptation, the Come From Away pro shot, Wolfwalkers, Greyhound, and TV shows like Ted Lasso, For All Mankind, and Severance. And I swear to God, like, out of the top 5 currently running TV shows on, like, currently going, 3 out of the 5 are on Apple TV Plus because they pick very specific things and they want to make sure they're good. They have high quality control, maybe not as far as writing goes, but as far as giving them a budget and making sure what they're doing is of the highest quality and not embarrassing. Come From Away, I don't know if you've seen the pro shot version of it, is probably the best like musical theater pro shot ever, just because it captures everything that you'd want to see from that show live. So much that this is an anecdotal answer, but my mother, who doesn't watch anything more than once ever, watched it 4 times in its release. She just had it on in a constant repeat because she liked it so much.
It's I don't think I've seen the pro shot, but I mean, if it's shot that well,
yeah,
I probably should see it, honestly, because I really like that show.
Then there's things I don't love, like it owns all the fucking Peanut stuff, like all the Snoopy, Charlie Brown stuff. So
yeah, which that does suck. They should let PBS play it again.
However, no one was really making Charlie Brown shit until Apple TV Plus bought it, and now we've had like 3 in the last 2 years, 4 in the last year. 4 in the last year, new Charlie Brown stuff.
Are they good?
Yes, from all the reviews I'm seeing, they are apparently good.
We should do a Peanuts episode sometime.
Well, there is the Peanuts musical, You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown. It's worth talking about. Maybe in 2023 we'll do that.
I'm a fan of Charlie Brown. I like the Charlie Brown. I like the comics, though. I don't like the shorts as much.
Yeah, you're a big Charlotte Brown fan?
I am a Charlotte Brown fan.
I didn't mean to dive into that rabbit hole, but I find this interesting that I should have had more faith in this just on the fact that it was an Apple TV Plus production. And they don't make things like this. Even like the big budget musicals, if you're not Steven Spielberg, you're not going to get a budget like this. And if you're not adapting a surefire hit like Wicked, you're not getting a budget like this. And even if you
This is a new, brand new, everything new.
Yes.
New story, new, like, I mean, technically it's based on Christmas Carol, but it's enough of a departure from it that I would say it's a new story, essentially.
Yes. It's what everyone has been chasing with the Wicked boom, where it's a new story based on something we all already know, so we have a context and a reason to go into it, but it's something brand new.
You got star power.
Yep.
You've got new songs that are well written and work. You've got big budget numbers. Like, it's got everything. Like...
And the most important thing currently happening with this film that no other streaming service is doing, it had a 1-week release in theaters before it was released on Apple TV Plus, and it's still in theaters right now. I know people that are seeing it within the last week. It is making money from 2 different resources because Apple is putting the money behind this and supporting it.
I wouldn't be shocked if we see a sequel to this thing.
I'd rather just have like Shawn Anders and these 2 leads come together and make something else different. Another musical, maybe.
Yeah.
Well, now, this isn't perfect, and let's not pretend that the money's all going towards the film. Bree, from what we've pitched about this, what do you think the budget of this film was?
It's from Apple? Mm-hmm. Ooh, I don't know, like or maybe like a quarter of $100 million.
Okay, you're pretty close. It was $75 million. Guess how much Ryan Reynolds and Will Ferrell were paid?
Oh God. Okay, so
they got one Big Mac each.
One big.
They had to split the fry.
I don't know. Like,
no drink.
I feel like Ryan Reynolds was probably. Were they paid the same?
Or
were they?
They
were paid the same.
Yeah, they were paid the same.
Just to make it easier for you to guess, they were paid the same.
I don't know, like 10 mil each. I don't know, how much do you have? 15 mil? I don't know.
You're pretty close. It was $20 million each. So in a
stupid amounts of money.
In a $75 million film, $40 million of that budget went to Ryan Reynolds and Will Ferrell.
And they still managed to make the rest of the movie look really good and expensive.
Exactly. That's the wildest thing about this. I'm not sure that they're worth that amount of money, to be honest. I'm not sure they're worth the entire budget of Joker just to have them
Will
in this
Ferrell
movie.
has got he's looking like an old man.
Well, that's part of why he works in this role, though.
It is. It actually does work, but I don't think he wanted to look like an old man in this role, though.
No, but why do you think they're worth most of your budget if you're a producer of this film?
I mean, there are still people that would go and see a movie just because they recognize a name on the poster.
I mean, as Quentin Tarantino said in The Last Weekend, movie stars don't exist anymore because the stars don't sell the tickets, the characters do. Captain America sells more tickets than Chris Evans ever will.
True. Which, did they advertise, and I guess spoilers, we haven't spoiled a ton, but did they advertise at all that Will Ferrell is playing Scrooge?
Not at all. That twist was kept out of all the marketing.
Wow. Because that would be like something they could sell. Like, oh, we got Will Ferrell as Scrooge.
And that twist I saw coming right away. Like, it's not like and it knows that you probably see it coming and doesn't really worry about it.
I mean, I predicted it as well, but like kids and stuff, they're not going to see it coming.
Yeah, like, but this is a PG.
And from the poster, you probably wouldn't be able to tell.
No, and just from the premise, you might be able to tell, but probably not.
It's more like when you get a little bit into the movie, then you start noticing like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Like, and it works. Like, this isn't us being like, man, it's bad because the twist doesn't work. This is a little bit more complex than that.
It's not like a big twist. It's like, it doesn't reveal like at the end. Yeah.
It's a character twist. It's for the emotions of the character. While I feel like we have both talked too much about this movie and not at all about the movie.
Yeah. Do you want to go through stuff you liked plot-wise, or? I
mean, you start that, because there's a lot of plot-wise stuff. The plot is simple. It's really bone simple. It's a cynical take on A Christmas Carol from a modern point of view, but not like in the two-dimensional side of it. Like, man, isn't it crazy that the ghosts and all that, and like, but Scrooge.
I actually really like the cynical how they went about it.
Yes,
because it's fun when the character, which we already know, like, so this character that they're trying to Scrooge, like they're trying to turn into the good Scrooge, basically. They're already labeled irredeemable.
Yes.
At the beginning, so we already know like this guy is gonna be a pain and it's not gonna work probably. So when he's going through and like nitpicking all the stuff they do, it's just funny. It's fun to watch, as it's like, well, yeah, he's irredeemable. Like, of course it's not gonna work. And I love that they already know about all the Christmas Carol stuff. So like when they try to just do A Christmas Carol, they're just like, well, I already know all this. Like, you're just manipulating me. Like, whatever.
But the biggest thing, like the premise, and I wish the song you mentioned where they're like, oh, I'm gonna not sing, and they cut it off. I actually think that song is fairly important plot-wise, and I wish they had cut it in, because they play it at the end as a cut song, and I know this movie is very song-heavy at the front, which is part of the reason why it's a little disjointed. I like songs, so it doesn't bother me, but I get why it would throw people off. It's a song about the ripples and what their goal is, and their goal is not to like fix one person and then suddenly like it's good because they fixed one person. It's because they fixed one person, the ripples of the effect in their life is an impact on the world itself, which is why they're going for richer people. And the reason why he's so dead set on Ryan Reynolds' character is because since he is so effective at communicating a point to people and has so much money and is so effective in that way, the ripples would be very good for all of humanity.
Ryan Reynolds is playing like essentially a corporate propagandist.
Yes.
Who just designs outrage culture, essentially. Which, yeah, I mean, that's a real thing that people actually do. And those people probably are irredeemable. so it makes sense. Can we talk about how adult this is for a family Christmas thing?
I'd say it's edgier than Elf. Like, it's definitely a PG-13 and earns that PG-13. Like,
yes. I mean, they basically directly reference characters just having sex, essentially. Which
Ryan Reynolds fucks
I'm fine
Christmas
with.
Past.
Yeah, like, I'm fine with it. But like this, I was a little like, whoa, wait, is this a family thing or is this a... obviously they don't show it, but I mean, it's very more than heavily implied. It's basically outright said. And then there's the they just do like a middle schooler committing suicide.
Yeah. Let's talk about that one. So you sent me a very funny message this morning, which is Pasek and Paul just can't get away from teens committing suicide, can they?
I think I said specifically they like bullying teenagers into suicide, but that was more of a humorous way to phrase it.
It's not wrong, though. Please elaborate on how that fits into this goofy comedy where Tracy Morgan plays the Grim Reaper, or plays the Ghost of Christmas Yet to Come.
So, I don't know if I want to say it's earned, because I'm pretty sure they could have done this a different way.
But it feels in line with everything else we set up. Out of context, it sounds wild, but in context, it's like, oh, well, okay.
And it is impactful, and it does sort of show like how bad this character actually, like how evil Ryan Reynolds' character actually kind of was.
Yeah, because he's like kind of joyfully evil, like lovably evil for most of it, and then you realize how bad his impact could be.
I think they had to do something where they showed how bad what he does is, because otherwise it's more just like, well, he's just kind of a bit of a jerk, and whatever.
A lovable jerk, a lovable scamp.
So he is helping his niece, I think. It's his niece, right?
Yes.
He's helping his niece get elected class president, which is just such a unimportant thing, which of course, because he is actually evil, he tells his employee to...
Played by Octavia Spencer, who is wonderful in this, by the way.
Very, very good. But he tells her to dig up dirt on her opponent. And the dirt they find is like this kid in 6th grade or something said that homeless people were gross on TikTok or something like that. Which, you shouldn't say that, but you're in 6th grade. Like, like you're going to have bad opinions, like whatever. But of course, the Ghost of Christmas Future shows Ryan Reynolds what's going to happen when his niece posts that video to everybody, for everybody to see. It ends up with the target of the video, who is a middle schooler, dead.
Yeah, killed himself.
Presumably by suicide. They don't show it or anything, but I mean, it's pretty obvious. It would be
triggering if you didn't know it was coming, to be honest.
Yeah, a little bit.
I'm surprised more people haven't talked about that one.
But in the context of it, I think it does sort of work, and I'm not really sure what else they could have done there to really like sell it, but it does kind of suck that it's essentially using this as like a prop.
I mean, it's not a prop because it is kind of the third act climax.
It's true, and it's very like desperate, where he's like trying to stop it from happening, essentially, and it's like.
But the one thing I respect about that is Ryan Reynolds, of course, does stop it because he doesn't want a kid to die, and then
he tries to. He actually fails to. Yeah, it's his employee, who is a good enough person, stops it for him, essentially,
because Will Ferrell told her. Like it's convoluted, but
it's convoluted. But Ryan Reynolds actually fails to stop it, and his change of character has to be something else because he's not able to stop it.
Yeah, but there's one line that really stood out to me, and it's the most real thing, especially if you're dealing with like emotionally abusive psychopaths that he is, where Will Ferrell's like, you did a good thing, that means you should be fixed. He's like, no, I did one good thing, but in a week I'll probably go back to the way I was, because that's what people do. It's no change is ever permanent.
Yeah. And I mean, it's true. It's like, he found out that his one decision is going to potentially lead to a child being dead, and he's decided that that's not worth it. But like, he didn't change his mind on anything else, really.
Yeah. Like, and that's like the antithesis of every climax of every movie ever, where doing one good deed officially changes you forever, and you are now on the path to righteousness.
Which is, I think, what makes this so good, because that's exactly what Will Ferrell's character is worried about.
Exactly.
He is Scrooge, and he feels like we find out that Scrooge dies like 3 weeks after the events of Christmas Carol. And he's like, well, I did like what, one good thing, and like, am I really changed? Am I really all that different than I used to be?
Because
And
he died like
really
right after
convince.
the story ended. He's like, I had 3 weeks of being good, and fuck. He does have a funny line where he's like, the biggest cause of death in my time was January.
So I mean, it's a good way to kind of connect the two characters and how they both feel in that. So I don't know, it really works. It's a cohesive story that just works.
It's sad when
I don't know what to
we're in
say.
a stage of streaming media where we have to give points to just a cohesive story that has emotional beats and hits them all. Okay, we should probably talk about the negatives before we go on to previews and all that. What didn't you love about this?
Okay. I think the main things I didn't like was sometimes they were trying to be like too meta.
Yes.
Like too much of like, hey, you know this from like Christmas Carol stuff, or oh, you don't like musicals, like we don't like singing either, and stuff like that. And those type of jokes I think don't work super well, and I don't think they'll age very well either. So
yeah, I think those are rough. I think also the film's a little too long. I think it's like 15 minutes too long. I feel like it overstays its welcome a bit. And that's not a problem with the song numbers. It's a problem with your pacing.
Yeah. But honestly, I think like I'm being a bit like very nice to this because I just kind of liked it, but
yeah.
I don't have a ton of complaints. I don't think it was like phenomenal or like anything like that, but I wouldn't be surprised if this becomes like another kind of Christmas staple like Elf did.
Well, there's an Elf reference in this where Will Ferrell runs into Buddy the Elf and says, "You look stupid," or something like that.
Yeah, and those are the type of jokes that are, you know. But
I do want to go into a brief section of wild facts, brar. So the big song, the you remember "Thank You Very Much" from Scrooge, that we covered with Emily Clark and her brother many years ago. They do a send-up of that called "Good Afternoon," which they imply means "fuck you" throughout it.
yes, which is actually a pretty fun song, and I thought was pretty good.
However, yes,
it wasn't. I'm reading this. This is good actually. So
it was not originally in the movie as when they pitched it to Ryan Reynolds and Will Ferrell. Then they're chatting with them, and it was originally just a line of dialogue, a throwaway line like "Good afternoon" means "F you," and they kind of move on with their lives. And Ryan Reynolds like, why don't we just make that a song? Why don't we just do that? And then the director's like, okay, yeah, that's a funny idea, but how are we going to make it narratively important? So they decided, like, why don't we make it a convincing song of trying to get Scrooge, Will Ferrell, to be his original kind of debaucherous self on the part of Ryan Reynolds. And it's sad when the director of Sex Drive understands narrative coherency in musical theater better than a lot of people directing musical theater. I know this is like such the basics.
Honestly, I can't even imagine the movie without this song because it actually works so well and like even narratively makes sense. It's like this is a Ryan Reynolds character trying to get Scrooge to be Scrooge again, and Will Ferrell is kind of like falling into it, and you get a little worried like, oh, maybe he is Scrooge still.
I think that Ryan Reynolds, that's a great suggestion. The number is one of the most fun, probably a little too meta for me, like when Judi Dench shows up, I'm like,
yeah, that part again, there's some of those jokes in this that are just like, dang, that's why did you put that in there?
I'm not even saying they have to play it totally sincere. I think you just need to remove the meta stuff. The Buddy the Elf, the references to Scrooge, and you've got a perfect holiday film instead of just a pretty okay one.
I don't even fully mind the references to Scrooge because that's such a famous movie that people do know, and they're not referencing it in the sense of the characters shouldn't know about it, but they do. It's more of like, well, in the world of the movie, like that does exist. So,
I do want to talk about our next wild fact bar. The directors handpicked Pascal and Paul for this because they write incredibly catchy songs, allegedly, and they also have a great sense of humor when they need to. So they were the first choice, had a meeting, and they were excited about the cast, and they wanted a Christmas movie. And also, this isn't even their first Christmas piece, because they did A Christmas Story, the musical, a few years ago that we covered.
Yes.
I think, as far as their Christmas scores, I think I actually prefer this one to A Christmas Story, the musical.
I think I agree, because honestly, I don't even remember much about the Christmas Story. I remember we didn't hate that one, I think.
No, it's pretty good.
It was like a thumbs up, kind of.
What the fuck are we, Ebert and Siskel over here?
Yeah, it was like a 1 thumb up and not 2.
Bree, you once said that was your favorite episode of our show ever.
Yes, I did.
I lied.
No, I did. I had to think about it, but I did. That was one of my favorite episodes. It was very fun to edit. And you guys just killed it, I thought.
Thank you. I mean, I don't remember anything about that episode except yelling about Matthew Broderick.
I don't go back and re-listen to anything ever, so I can't stand my own voice.
I can't stand it when you're that far from the microphone, but...
What? I'm not even that far. The microphone looks like big, so it looks like I'm further than I am.
Yeah, okay, I'll take your word for it.
You're full of shit.
So the leads were trained to both sing and dance at their houses. So they had professional dancers come to their house to teach them how to do the moves, which in any other time would say with gauche, but it is COVID times. I did also want to bring up that this did not feel like a COVID movie, despite very much being a COVID movie. Like, there isn't that weird, like, everyone's shot in a one shot and no one's in the same take together thing that you
Ratatouille the musical.
Or even, like, Doctor Strange, which is a movie I like, but you can kind of see the COVID-ness of it.
Everybody's green screened into every scene.
Yeah, because you have to make your deadlines. This just feels like a movie. It feels like it could have come out in 2018, sincerely, and except for the pandemic reference.
Yeah.
And that's all for Wild Facts. But how about, who cares what we have to say? It's time to move on to our favorite portion of the show, where we compare our opinions to those of the crazy folks on Letterboxd.com. It's time for previews!
It's time for previews. It's time for previews.
Bree, you're going up against Andrew because you're going to have to carry a lot of the preview weight in our next recording.
I'm ready.
All right, are you guys ready?
Yes.
Bree, you're first.
Okay. I'm nervous.
Post 9/11 Scrooge McDuck.
5 stars.
That is correct!
Woohoo.
All right, Andrew, you ready?
I'm ready.
Unredeemable.
Jeez. I mean, I guess we'll go with 1, but it is a reference to the movie, so it could be 5. But I'm going to go with 1.
That is correct! All right, Bree, you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Had me walking out the theater promising to be a better person.
Ooh, 5 stars.
That is correct! This is going to be a really easy one. Maybe I got to step up my game.
I think you do.
Yeah.
All right, Andrew, you ready?
I'm ready.
I got to tell you, there's nothing like being welcomed by the Apple original logo.
Did you write this?
I did not.
5 stars.
That is a 1 star! Bree, you ready? I was just thinking we needed another version of A Christmas Carol where Ryan Reynolds cancels an 11-year-old on Instagram, causing him to commit suicide.
Ooh, 1 star.
That is correct! I had that same thought.
I wish that wasn't true, but it is.
It is absolutely true. It is weird that it happened twice. You're right, Cinemageddon reviews. The Ghost of Christmas Past is just like me! LMFAO!
Dang, we would all have sex with Ryan Reynolds, right?
I will say...
Right? High fives all around, my dudes.
This movie is only horny at a certain point, but it goes very horny when it does.
It's like, there's like 5 minutes where they're like, oh shit, this is like a sex comedy now.
It felt like it was from the director of Sex Drive for a few minutes.
Jeez, was this mine?
Yeah.
5 stars.
That is correct! Bree, you ready?
Yes.
Facebook is gonna love this one.
Ooh, 5 stars.
That is a 1 star!
No.
Andrew!
Facebook is all watching the Santa Clauses, okay? Get out of here.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not gonna lie.
Is there a new Santa Claus with Tim Allen?
Yeah.
For a show?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the Santa Clauses.
I'm kind of enjoying it.
You're watching
I'm kind of enjoying it. I'm not gonna lie. I feel
Bro,
bad.
are you fucking serious right now?
I'm kind of
Get the
having a
fuck
good
outta
time
here.
with it.
Okay, good
hate
to
you.
know. I mean,
I hate you.
I did enjoy those films
I
growing
did
up.
too. I enjoyed the first and second one. I think the second one's probably one of the best romantic comedies ever made.
Really?
Bite me. Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, I feel like that can't be true. That is false.
No, it's really cute and like has a premise that's worth like examining. I liked it.
Is Tim Allen a good actor?
No.
Okay, I couldn't remember. It was so in sync. I haven't watched anything with Tim Allen since I was like all of 9 years old. So I
think all of his performances are exactly the same.
Have you ever thought about why after the first one they never gave him anything to do in the Toy Story movies? It's because he has no range.
Yeah, literally the first Toy Story was the only time he ever did anything in that whole series.
Yeah. And I watched all 4 Toy Stories in a row.
Yeah.
Part of me is like, okay, I think the 4th one is actually the second best movie. But I
feel like the first one is the second best movie, but I don't know.
I think it's 2, 4, 1, 3 for me.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd put 4 that high.
I really like 4.
I think I would put 4 above 3, but I don't think it beats 1.
Maybe 1 just is too uncomfortable for me. Like, it's a lot of just Woody being. But once again, the only consistent thing through all of them is that Woody is a prick. That is the one consistent thing that draws them all together. Is Woody's kind of an asshole.
His name is Woody. Of course, he's a dick.
All right, we gotta move on. Andrew, you ready for the next one?
Yes. Wait, didn't I just do one?
Did you? I think
I
Bridget
did.
did one.
Okay, never mind.
It was
I'll go.
the Facebook one.
All right, you ready?
Yes.
I satanic mockery of Christ Mass. Nothing Christian in it. Director should be burned alive.
Praise be. Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree. That's a 1 star.
That is correct.
And I wrote it.
And now you're tied. All right, Bree. 2 more left, so we got to make this work.
Okay.
If it wasn't so long, I'd defo watch it again.
All right. 5 stars.
That is correct.
Okay.
That was like a review I stared at for a while. Like, what the fuck?
I would also defo watch
I
it
wrote
again.
it. I wrote that review as well.
It's not even that long.
It's 2 hours.
Okay, do you want to hear what a majority of these reviews were when I looked at them?
Sure.
So Fathom Events had a mystery screenings series where they would just play a film without telling a new film, and they wouldn't tell the audience what it is until they showed up and sat down and watched it. And they had listed the film was 2 hours and 31 minutes. So everyone thought it was The Fabelmans. So they're going in there ready to watch Steven Spielberg's analysis of his parents' divorce, and they sit down and they get this. So most of them are just pissed off they had to watch this instead of The Fabelmans.
This was 2.5 hours?
No, this is 2 hours and 10 minutes. They're like, why would you write that if it was, you know what, it is 2 hours and 31 minutes of Fabelmans. Guess what isn't this? I'm pissed.
Well, that's their fault.
Agreed. All right, Bree, last one.
Did I not just go?
Did you not just go? Oh, Andrew. Andrew, last one. This is a tiebreaker. If you get this right, you could win.
Please lose.
Corny ass Christmas musical starring Ryan Reynolds is my brand all of a sudden.
5. I'm winging it. 5 stars.
That is correct. And Andrew, you have won previews today.
Oh, I always lose.
You don't always lose. Was that Chris Pratt?
No, and I don't want to talk about it.
Yahoo! It's me, Mario.
That's not the voice, except for it totally is the voice.
That's the voice.
Here I come, Mushroom Kingdom.
It's me, Mario.
Hey guys, it's me, Mario. That's not the voice, but it was.
It was the voice.
So bad.
On that note, how about we go into a mid-show and then talk about some songs?
Musicals with cheese.
Hey guys, sorry to interrupt you in the middle of the show, but we've got a shoot at you! Andrew, tell us a little bit about Patreon and what's going on over there.
Patreon's where you can go if you'd like to give us some extra dough, some money, but also you get content out of it. So, it's worth it for both of us, really. We got extra podcasts over there. We got commentaries. Probably put up something new pretty soon. We got the Goofy movie one up right now, but we got more stuff in the works.
Yeah, I gotta tie Andrew down and make him watch some stuff. Come on.
Probably next week. Wait, actually, probably this week while you're listening to this. There's going to be something new up.
Yeah, let's hope.
Yeah, and you can request episodes from us, all sorts of cool stuff. It's just a great place to be.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, our current patrons are Melissa Goldman, Danielle Renix, Jess the Stampede, Ewan Cassidy, Monica Thoreau, Miniam Maniri, Brent Black, Nathaniel Stacey Coombe, Joseph Evans Green, Mary Lou Choquette, John Vanals, Russ Walker, Musical Hell, Kyle Summers, Janae C, Scoot and the Technicolor Dreamcoat, Liz Lum, Allison Stellar, Nothing is Certain Except Beth, and Taxes. Desbian, Ren Cullen, Raphael, Martina Salaz, Jessica T, Mitchell Young, Chai Teacup, Katie McDonough, Chris Marcotte, Mimu, Kiji, Marie Anastasio, Layla, RJ Narija, Charlie B, Bjorn Hermans, Eric S, Toriana Frazier, Sammy the Most Lopez, Lyanna Morton, Kaylee Blazier, Birdman 69, Cinema Again Reviews, Villainous Miss Sophiana Ali, The Omega Geek, Paige Pearson, Maggie Wargle, Elisa Erdman, Anna Loskatova, Cheska Vere, Sarah Den Blakier, Evan Ball, Zachary Torres, Spencer Hellier, Gathering Party Before Venturing Forth, and just right before we recorded, Rora Morasso, and they all give us a little extra financial support that helps us keep the lights on here at Musicals with Cheese. And if you would like to join them and supporting us and get all those fun perks that Andrew was talking about, come join us over on Patreon. But Bree, we also have a very special Bree Views in the middle of our little podcast and a little of our mid-show. Are you ready for it?
Yes, I am.
All right, we got 2 new reviews right here, and I want you to take a look at them real quick for me.
Okay.
Oh, Lord.
Guys, this podcast is actually addicting. It's not even funny. What?
Wait, they're not supposed to be positive.
Also, Rent is good, and you don't understand it. It is all. Wait, what?
And that is from number 1 Rent fan, and they give us 5 stars.
Okay, I like 5 stars.
Then we also have this one from Nacho Libre OG.
I'm very glad I stumbled upon this.
Nacho!
And we're very grateful for you leaving those reviews. And if you want to have your review read, just leave us a review. Even if you've already done it before, do it again.
I say I am.
Are you singing the Popeye
I'm
song?
proud I am. No, it's from Nacho Libre.
I've never seen it. Is it good?
Good is a word you could use.
And also, while we're in this mid-show and wasting your time, right now there should be brand new holiday merch with our faces on it, themed especially for the Christmas season, so you can put on your body, put on your wall, put on your notebook, and put on your butt. Whatever you want to do with it, I don't give a shit, but it's certainly Christmassy. Yeah. How about we get back to the show and talk about some real Christmas?
Musicals with cheese.
You wait for the day, you prep for a year, and when the big day is finally here, you take a jerk and work to turn them around. You show them their life and you hope for the switch, and when it goes off without a hitch, this Christmas train is party bound. Bring on the chili Apollinaire.
So that Christmas morning feeling, which is the opening number.
Yeah.
What'd you think of it?
Okay, just for like style, most of the songs in here are just kind of like poppy, like what you'd expect kind of numbers. And usually I would say that that's like not great, but this being like a holiday sort of feature, I feel like it actually works pretty well. Because this is, I mean, what are the popular holiday songs nowadays? They're all these like poppy stuff, so.
I'm gonna fuck you under the Christmas tree. Wasn't that a Backstreet Boys song?
Yeah, I'm gonna fuck you under the Christmas tree. There's
I'm gonna butt fuck your grandma under the mistletoe.
Yeah. What's the one about the girl's gonna be on top of the tree? She's gonna be the star.
Yeah, that's I'm the Greatest Star from Funny Girl, as sung by Leah Michele. That's the song you're thinking about.
Yeah. That Christmas morning feeling though it's a good way to get right into it.
The only thing I don't like about this song is they cut to like the new Ghost and they just are like, what? It's a musical? Cringe.
Yes. That is a problem that happens in like 90% of the songs here, though. So
Yes.
although this is the most noticeable one because it's the first time they do it, and they do it for a while. This
They
one, it's not
really
even
hold
like a
on it.
one-time. It's not like a one-time gag. It's like a full like conversation between two characters. Like, dang, we're really gonna sing? That sucks.
It's a musical when you die? Aw, dang it. Musicals
Yeah.
suck.
They don't even stick with that though, because living people start singing too.
Yeah, literally, their universe makes no sense. I mean, it's fine. I just wish they'd... I don't care.
Just lean in, guys. You don't have to make an excuse.
I do want to talk. President's Lament is a fine song, but we're skipping over it. Bringing Back Christmas, which was the moment I was like, okay, this movie might have more to it than I initially thought.
We're bringing back Christmas. We're bringing back cheer. We're bringing back cozy nights, those twinkly lights, the glow of yesteryear. Now it's some slight manipulation, but it's what we've gotta do. See, we need some confrontation, or your message won't get through. We're bringing back decency. We're bringing back Christmas, and that means the piney scent of a real authentic tree.
I really like this song. It's both a very poppy Christmas song, but also like it shows you how manipulative and kind of scummy the Ryan Reynolds character is. Like at the same time.
It's so catchy, though.
Yes.
I like the song. I like how TikTok inspired it is. Like when he throws the shoe up in the air, kicks it, and then he transforms into a different outfit. I think that's the good influence of social media on our like mass film media.
I also like how at the end they basically reveal that the song didn't actually happen. It's just he's just standing behind the podium, and it was obviously just a speech or something.
It's musical theater logic, which is fine, and I actually love that.
I think this is one of the few songs where they don't actually do something like, "Oh, we're gonna sing now."
Yeah. How do you feel about Ryan Reynolds' singing voice?
He's fine.
Yeah.
I don't think he's like impressive, but it's like a lot of celebrities where like they can sing fine. Reminds me of like The Rock in Moana or something like that.
I think he's a little better than The Rock and Roll. I was actually a little impressed.
He's better, yes, but it's like that where it's like he's not a singer, but you could tell he can sing, so it's like it's okay.
Like I feel like I was slightly more impressed by Ryan Reynolds than Will Ferrell, because Will Ferrell like jokingly sang a few times. I'm like, oh, he can actually hit notes and he's on pitch. Good for you.
Yeah, I think Will Ferrell didn't feel as comfortable singing.
Yeah, you know who would have probably been better in that role?
Who?
John C. Reilly.
Oh yeah, you probably wouldn't have had to pay him a
$20 million.
Yeah,
Which is
maybe
sad.
only 10.
He's like an Oscar nominee and shit.
He's really good. I actually like him better than Will Ferrell for sure.
He can do anything. Like John C. Reilly is like the true like proper triple threat. But I think Bringing Back Christmas is probably my favorite number in the entire film.
Yeah, the only thing is it's basically the villain number, but the villain numbers are often the best, so it doesn't matter.
I do want to talk a little bit about Marley's Haunt version of The Story of Your Life.
Yeah.
Because this is simultaneously the coolest sounding song and shows how badly Pasek and Paul write for like a proper musical theater voice. Because we've got Patrick Page, known as playing Hades in Hadestown, and Frollo in the Hunchback of Notre Dame musical. Brilliant vocalist, good at it. And his voice just feels lost underneath these rocky notes. And it feels like I don't notice auto-tune very much with Will Ferrell and Ryan Reynolds, but I notice it a lot with Patrick Page, and I don't know why.
It's definitely weird because, of the bunch, he's probably the best singer.
Yeah.
Technically, but somehow they made him sound like the worst.
I don't know how they did it. It confuses me.
I think it's just a situation where they didn't write for the part correctly.
Maybe they had someone else in that role and then Patrick Page stepped in at the last minute, because he is a big part of that movie, and for just a Broadway actor I was happy to see it, but also maybe they wrote it for someone else like Carl Reiner. I don't know, another comic actor that dropped out last minute.
Regardless, I do agree this is one of the weakest parts of it.
I mean, the like, imagine if they had written for his voice and what they could have done.
They also just don't utilize him really. He's in he's in a couple songs, I guess, but this is his song, and it's not even like a full number. It gets interrupted like multiple times.
Yeah. And let's just say this. Patrick Page is fine. He has great comic timing. He's very funny. It's just he's wasted. Weirdly.
Yeah. That's like, you should have given a full song. Have him come in and sing Marley and Marley, you know?
Well, Marley and Marley. Oh, God. Have we done something Christmas Carol every year since we started this podcast?
Of course we have. There's like a bazillion of them.
There's our Brie counted 50 adaptations.
Yeah, and you haven't talked about my favorite one.
Which one's your favorite one?
It's not my favorite, but the last one I remember seeing was Girlfriends of Christmas Past.
Is that a musical?
No, but it's with Jennifer Garner and Matthew McConaughey.
Oh, you're thinking of Ghost of Girlfriends Past.
Ghost of Christmas Ghost, whichever one.
Have you been drinking a little bit, Brie, or you just been awake since 5 a.m.?
I've just been awake since 5 a.m.
You should drink for the next one.
I was also up at 3 a.m. and I didn't go to bed till midnight. So you tell me when I slept, because I don't remember.
You should get a drink for our next recording.
No, I'm supposed to keep you on track for the next recording.
Yeah, it'll be funny.
Okay.
Let's talk about Good Afternoon.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Well, I never.
Just let one fly and you'll be smiling pretty soon. Like this. Good afternoon. I beg your pardon. It's crude and cross.
It's like there's awkward with a little touch of class.
Oh, two little words can totally change your tune. Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good Afternoon is just a bop. If Bringing Back Christmas wasn't so good, this would be probably the best number. It's just they dance around in fake old-timey England or whatever and say good afternoon a bunch. It's very funny.
And good afternoon means fuck you, so they're like really offending everyone. This is like the PG-13 equivalent of Uncle Fucker from South Park.
Yeah, which good afternoon never meant fuck you, right?
No.
That they just made that up.
That made that up.
Though humbug did used to be like a actual swear.
Imagine Bah Humbug was this. That would actually be kind of funny if they used Bah Humbug instead of Good Afternoon.
They couldn't have made it flow the same way though. Bah Humbug I feel like would have been more of a downer song. It's funny. I like it.
Yeah. And then there's the song where my dad turned to me and said they turned on the Dear Evan Hansen. Unredeemable.
Waking minute, taking all that I could take. Never stop to reckon with the ruin in my wake. With all the bridges that I burned, the wounds I didn't mend, all the worth I thought I earned, it turned worthless in the end. What was it for?
Which, at this point in the story, there's not been a real big number for a while. So they kind of stopped to have this number where Will Ferrell decides to go back to Earth to fuck Octavia Spencer.
Yep.
And this song works for me. This song really works for me. And I hate how generic pop sounding and Dear Evan Hansen-y it is.
To be fair, it's the only one in it that kind of sounds like this, though.
I don't know. Story of Your Life, the Clint's Pitch one, really sounds like it. A Little Good, the Octavia Spencer song, The View From Here, those all sound very much the same.
We haven't talked about View From Here. I think that one's actually pretty not great. You can hear the auto-tune on her voice, too.
Block out the guilt that I'd have to ignore for a raise as I rise to the 39th floor. Or I can walk out this door and defiantly quit. There's a line you can't cross, and I think this is it. Oh, maybe I haven't lost sight of what's right. No, it's perfectly clear.
I almost accept it more for her because she's putting the effort into the performance side of it a little bit more than everyone else.
Yeah.
I just feel like they didn't know what to do visually with that. Every other song they had a visual idea for it, and I feel like with her they're like, put her in her office.
Yeah. I mean, that's what the song is about, so. Unredeemable, I think, is a good song, though, even regardless of the baggage that you think it may have.
No, I think visually it makes up for what it's doing musically.
Yeah. No, I mean, in the context of the whole, yeah, I think it's pretty good.
Yeah, I agree. I really actually like what it's doing, how it pays off, and how it moves the story forward. I think all of the things that it should have really works. It's just lyrically, it's bland, and it could be about anything, really.
I do like how, and just looking at it, because we have all the songs listed out.
Yeah.
There's a couple songs that they very clearly just bring back.
Yeah.
When the story arcs is complete. And I feel like that's something that you don't often see in movie musicals.
Like, what do you mean?
Usually in the second half of movie musicals, they just don't do songs anymore. So I don't know. I feel
you make a good point.
It's nice that they have, like, the view from here comes back when her view changes. That Christmas morning feeling comes back at the end as just another fun number again, but it's essentially being sung at the same point in the story as it was the first time.
Yes.
It's like, so, it's kind of, they actually have something there.
You want to know the only song I actually don't love in this? And not saying it isn't an earworm, not saying it isn't good, but it's the only one that I really feel like it's too great a showman, too trying to be a pop number that will get played on Arby's ads. And that's Do a Little Good, or A Little Good, which is like the song between Will Ferrell and Ryan Reynolds when their arcs are complete.
So can we do a little good?
Maybe give a little more. Work a little harder than we did the day before. It only takes a little good.
And some doing what you can.
Taking every chance to make the choice to be a better man.
So do a little good.
Yeah, you have to have a number like this, though.
I agree. It's just one song in every musical has to be the least good one, and it just happens to be this one.
You're just saying that because it's called A Little Good.
I'd prefer a big good.
That's pretty much all the songs.
I do like how that song ends. Like, I was a little surprised that they ended on the note they did, and I feel like we spoiled.
I don't even want
to
spoil that. I think it works really well, and I have no complaints. I am
actually very impressed by the resolution of this film. I like the fact that it has stakes, it has catharsis, and it has meaning.
Yeah, they don't do a cop out and just like.
I mean, they do, but it's
forever.
An emotionally effective cop out.
It's not like a. They could have copped out a lot harder.
Yeah, they could have. I'd say that this cops out even less than a Muppet Christmas Carol. And I love A Muppet's Christmas Carol.
Well, I think we've said enough. I feel like we've covered it.
I agree. So, Andrew, what is your overall thoughts on Spirited and your cheese rating?
So, I mean, I think I've said enough about it that people should know that I thought it was pretty good. I'm not going to pretend I don't have complaints. There's stuff that's not great, but I just don't like being overly negative when overall the piece is pretty good cohesively.
Like, we could nitpick, but they'd just be that, nitpicks.
Yeah. What's a good, like, Christmassy cheese, you know? I don't think of cheese when I think of Christmas, you know?
Really?
I think people do like, cheese platters and things.
Because I do cheese platters every Christmas with, like, me and my family. It's just, like, our morning, like snack before actually getting ready for shit.
Really? Well, what do you usually put on those? Because I feel like this deserves a proper Christmassy cheese.
Like, it's just cheap cheese trays because, like, you shop right before Christmas. I'm not even thinking anything fancy, like just the usual, like the ones we had when we watched Grease last summer.
Oh, yeah.
That cheese plate was bomb. I'll be completely honest with you.
Well,
maybe I'll just give it a Christmas charcuterie board. You know what I'm saying?
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Also, I'm very excited to see all of you guys face to face next summer, whether it's at Broadway Con or if we meet up again before then. I'm so pumped. I miss being in the same room with you two.
We got to watch Grease 3 and 4.
Or else the story won't make sense. I'm actually very excited for where we might be this time next year, which is a rarity. But that's a good cheese rating. Bree, how about you?
Discussion was great. I think I will sit down and actually watch this at some point in time. I like Ryan Reynolds. I love Will Ferrell. And it sounds like a good time. I'm going to give it a beer cheese because I feel drunk and I'm not.
That's tragic.
Oh
The
my
fact that
God.
you're not drunk, I mean.
Yeah, I know, right?
I'm very excited because I'm getting a little buzzed, which I think is the perfect thing to go into our next episode for.
And I'm going cross-eyed. I'm like so tired. It'll be fun though.
Great cheese rating. Sincerely, I think you probably will watch this like during your holiday festivities. Someone will just turn it on in the background and be like, "Oh, all right, I get it."
I'm gonna go out and just predict. I think this is gonna be another Elf, where this is like a Christmas.
The thing about Elf, and the reason why Elf and A Christmas Story become so big is because it gets syndicated on TV, and the problem with streaming shows is it never will become that.
Yeah. Though they might promote this over and over every year.
Have you ever seen a streaming Christmas special ever promoted after its first year of air? Like, has anyone talk about A Christmas Chronicle or anything?
Has a Christmas streaming special ever been as successful as this?
I don't know.
I feel like Netflix has made some Christmas films that every year they kind of pull up at the top around the season.
The thing about that is, that's a good point, but they keep making sequels to it. Like The Princess Switch, they do another one of those every year. So you'll not only rewatch the originals, but you'll watch the sequel that they just put out.
I won't, but someone will, yes.
Some people are like, ooh, Vanessa Hudgens, I love her. I'm going to watch her play 2 characters, maybe 3.
And just to throw out a spicy opinion, Elf is not that great. It's kind of fine.
I think Elf has a really good opening and a really good ending, and then meanders through the middle.
Exactly. Like, the middle is just nothing. But it's fun when he's at the North Pole, and it's fun when everything comes to an end, and it's like, nice.
Why do you want to see him? Like, I like this montage of him running through New York, and after that, it gets so boring, so meandering, so just like a normal movie. And then it leaves on such a high note that you forget how bad the middle was.
Yep, that's exactly my opinion. Yeah,
Andrew, I feel like you and I are becoming like husband and wife levels where we just kind of share the same opinions sometimes.
I hate that. I hate it.
Oh my God. I just pulled my headphones out. Hold on. I liked Spirited, didn't love it. I think maybe you like it a little bit more than I do, Andrew. I mean,
I have just been very positive because, you got to be nice sometimes. I'm just feeling happy.
I feel like maybe this is rooted too much in 2022 that I don't imagine it expanding past this very well. Like, there's too many modern references to like today as opposed to like something timeless. Like, maybe that was the brilliance behind Elf, is that it, despite being released in 2003, the references they make are fairly timeless, except for Higby.
It's just because they're referencing Rankin Bass movies.
Yeah, and spoilers for next week. Jon Favreau's like, we worked hard to make sure those were meticulous and animated the same way and all those things, and good on him. But I'm gonna give this a burrata cheese. I feel like it's a good sweet Christmas cheese that you'll enjoy, but you're never really gonna look back on it being like, I need some burrata tonight.
I love burrata.
The thing with Christmas movies is I have a low bar because I think all Christmas movies are kind of just bad.
Yeah.
Like, all of them, like, across the board. But you have to have ones that are like, okay, that was more watchable than most of them. Which is why Elf is so popular, because Elf is, like, more watchable than most of them. And I'm kind of putting this one near Elf, where it's like, it's not great, but it's more watchable than most of them.
You know, the only good Christmas movie, like, sincerely, is It's a Wonderful Life.
Krampus?
I love Krampus.
No, I know you're talking like real Christmas movies, though.
Yeah. It's a Wonderful Life is just a movie that happens to take place at Christmas, and it's a movie first, and I like that about it.
I actually have never seen it, and I really should.
You should. I mean, it's always on during the holiday season, and it's just a movie. And that's the best thing about it, is it's just a movie. And the movie came first, and the Christmas part of it came afterward.
Yeah.
For Patreon, you guys should watch bad Hallmark Christmas movies.
You know what, Bree? If you join us, I feel like that'll be the only way we'll really get the
Like
full.
real bad ones.
They're all really bad, though. That's the problem.
Sincerely, I would love an excuse to watch Holiday in Handcuffs.
That's not the one with Lindsay Lohan, is it?
No, that's
the one with
Joan Hart and
Yeah.
what's his name? Mario Lopez.
Yeah. I've seen that a couple times, actually. I don't know why.
On that note, you know who else definitely doesn't love burrata?
Our patrons?
Our wonderful patrons. Thank you guys for listening. Please follow us on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher at Musicals for Cheese. Please follow us on Twitter at Cheesy Musicals, Patreon Musicals for Cheese, Instagram Musicals for Cheese, YouTube page Musicals for Cheese. We have a Patreon-only podcast called Patreon with Cheese. Please email us at musicaltheaterlives@gmail.com. Our keeper of the cheese is Juliet Antonio. Here is some mouth noises for you for ASMR. ASMR. I don't know what ASMR is for. I don't get it. This show is produced by the incredible, the wonderful, the beautiful, and the totally clear-skinned Brianna Jones. Thank you, Bri. Our theme songs were created by Robin Nash of IOU Music UK. Thank you to the Broadway Podcast Network for having us on the platform and for not kicking us off for insulting our Lord and Savior, Ryan Reynolds. Also, on the day that we're recording this, I did want to say our Spotify Wrapped came out today, and I did want to talk a little bit about that before we wrap this episode up, if that's all right with y'all.
Sure.
I won't spend too long on this, but because of all you wonderful listeners, in our 94 episodes that we released of this year so far, people have listened to, we have gone up 49% in followers. We are currently listed in the top 5% of most followed podcasts on Spotify. We are shared 5% in the most globally shared podcasts on Spotify, as well as we are in 84 countries. And I'm just so grateful that we've done this. And we've made 5,057 minutes of content this year. Can y'all fucking believe that?
Dang, that's actually quite a bit.
Yeah. Go team.
I just want to say thank you all. I know it sounds final, but we still got a lot of episodes for the end of the year, but I'm just very grateful that we were able to do this and that we get to keep doing this and that our show is constantly going up in viewers and fans and not going down.
Bless.
Thank you, everyone who watches.
Yes.
Thank
or
you.
listens.
Yeah. Patrons watch.
True. Thanks for both.
Yeah. So, on that note, we will see you next time on Musicals with Cheese.
Musicals with Cheese.
People are 1, lazy, we only care about ourselves. Your competition knows this, so they crap flies off the shelves. But we're also 2, desperate to feel good, smart, and right. That's why you have to harness if you want to win this fight.